"You're late," I whispered, forcing a smile as Ethan slid into the seat beside me at the long dining table. "I know," he muttered, glancing at his phone. "Traffic was hell." "You could have texted." He didn't answer, just reached for the water pitcher and poured himself a glass like he hadn't noticed I'd spent the last 30 minutes trying not to look like I'd been stood up by my own boyfriend. His mother's eyes met mine across the table, polite, judging. "So," Mrs. Lewis said, voice light. "How's work going, Ethan?" "Fine, Yarrow," he replied, sipping his water. "Busy." She turned to me, eyes scanning my blouse like it was too bright. "And you, sweetheart?" "Still freelancing, was it?" "I run a content agency," I said. "We just picked up a new client last week." "Ah," she nodded, that tone people use when they think you're playing dress up with your life. Mr. Lewis cleared his throat. "Ethan, did you call the mortgage guy back? He was asking for those documents again." "I'll do it Monday." "You said that last week." "I said I'd do it. I will." I sat there in silence, my smile shrinking every second. No one asked how I was really doing, not even Ethan. He was here but miles away. Not once had he looked at me properly since he walked in. I leaned closer. "You forgot, didn't you?" "What?" "Our anniversary. 2 years, Ethan." He blinked. "Was that today?" I stared. "You seriously didn't know?" "I've had a long week." "That's your excuse now, every time?" "I'm not trying to fight," he said, voice low. "No, you never try," I snapped, louder than I meant to. "That's the whole problem." Mrs. Lewis stiffened. Mr. Lewis kept cutting his steak like none of this mattered. Ethan's jaw tightened. "Can we not do this here?" "Why? Scared Mommy might see the cracks?" His mother's face went pale. Ethan finally turned to me, eyes sharp. "What's going on with you lately?" "What's going on with me? You've been checked out for months. You barely talk to me. You forgot our anniversary. I feel like I'm dating a ghost." He didn't respond. I could feel my heart pounding in my ears. I looked around the table and hated how calm they all looked, like I was the emotional one, the unstable one. "You know what?" I said, pushing back my chair. "I don't even need you." The silence after that was suffocating. Mrs. Lewis's fork clinked against her plate. Ethan looked at me. No shock, no anger, just nothing. Then he nodded once, like I had made a point he'd already accepted. He stood up. "Ethan," his dad said, quiet. But Ethan was already walking. I froze. "Where are you?" He didn't turn around. The front door opened, then closed, and the engine started, and he drove off. I don't remember how the rest of that dinner ended. I think Mrs. Lewis offered me dessert. I declined. I think Mr. Lewis mumbled something about giving it time. I left before I screamed. The next morning I woke up hoping it was a dream. It wasn't. No call, no text, nothing. I stared at my phone for hours, opened our last text thread. Me. "Don't forget dinner at your parents' at 6. Ethan, thumbs up." That was it. I pressed play on a voice memo I'd recorded months ago, just to hear his voice. "Turn the wheel. Gently, babe. Like this. You don't jerk it, unless you want us flying into a ditch." I smiled then. God, he was patient that night. I was terrified of driving. He stayed out in the empty parking lot with me for 2 hours. "Can we take a break?" I asked. He laughed. "You want a milkshake, don't you?" "Obviously." He pulled me into the passenger seat. "Only if I get to choose the flavor." "You always pick vanilla. You're so boring. And yet, you keep coming back." My own laugh on the recording made me want to cry. 2 weeks passed. Nothing. Sammy came over carrying wine and bluntness. "Still no word?" I shook my head. "He's just gone." She sat on my couch, kicked off her boots. "Good. He doesn't deserve you." "You didn't say that when we were together." "I didn't want to crush your illusion. But babe, the man had all the emotional range of a soggy napkin." I laughed. Sort of. I said I didn't need him, Sam, in front of his mom. She blinked. Okay, yeah, that was a nuclear-grade moment. But seriously, he could have texted. Ghosting you like that? Coward move. He didn't even fight for us. She looked at me, softer now. Maybe he thought you didn't want him to. I didn't mean it. I know that. You know that. But maybe he was done waiting to hear it. 3 weeks. I couldn't take the silence anymore. I drove to his apartment, empty. A neighbor came out with her dog and gave me a pitying look. Ethan? Oh, he moved out. Didn't leave a forwarding address. What? When? Day after Thanksgiving, I think. That was the night of the dinner. My stomach turned. I sat in my car with the windows down, trying to breathe. The seat still smelled like his cologne. I reached into the glove box and pulled out the book he left. The Stranger, Camus. A bookmark slipped out. I picked it up. It was a folded piece of notebook paper. I unfolded it. His handwriting, slanted, sharp. I don't think you'll ever read this. Maybe that's why I'm writing it. I don't know how to be the man you want. I tried. God, I tried so hard. But every time I looked at you, I felt like I was failing some invisible test. You deserve someone who talks more, feels more, who doesn't shut down when things get hard. That's not me. I was raised on silence. We don't yell in my family. We disappear. I didn't want to disappear on you. But staying felt worse. I hope someday you understand. I loved you the only way I knew how. I folded the paper back, hands shaking. All this time, I thought he left because he was angry. But he left because he thought he wasn't enough. And maybe I made him believe that. That night, I sat on the edge of my bed, phone in hand. I hit record. Hey, I said softly, I know you're not going to hear this, but I didn't mean it. I did need you. I still do. But maybe not the way I thought. I wanted you to fight for me, Ethan. But you were already bleeding, weren't you? And I never noticed. I stopped, pressed pause, then delete. I lay back, pulled his hoodie around me, and let the silence wrap around me like a blanket. Still nothing? Sammy asked, popping open a soda as she walked into my apartment like she lived there. I didn't look up from my phone. He turned off read receipts. Who does that? Someone who's ghosting you. Or someone who's hurting. Don't romanticize it, babe. He's not Romeo. He's just a man who left. I set my phone down. He didn't block me. That's worse. He wants you to see the silence. I bit the inside of my cheek, blinking too fast. I keep thinking he'll text, even if it's just to say he hates me. But he won't. I know. Sammy sighed and dropped onto the couch beside me. Did you eat today? I shrugged. Coffee. She stared. You can't live off guilt and caffeine. I'm trying. You're spiraling. I glanced at her. What else am I supposed to do? Delete his number, burn his sweater, move on? I can't. You can. I don't want to. I spent hours scrolling through our old photos. Him in my hoodie, me in his hoodie, us in a car, us in the rain, laughing, always laughing. Now it felt like I'd imagined it all. I checked his Instagram, still there. No new posts, no story, no trace of emotion, like he'd been abducted by aliens who didn't believe in closure. I opened our last text again. Me. Don't forget dinner at your parents' at 6. Ethan. Thumbs up. That was it. That stupid thumb. It looked like a goodbye now. Okay, Sammy said the next day, arms crossed as I paced the living room. You need a distraction. Like what? Therapy? Number A, man. Absolutely not. Come on, just a coffee, a name, a face, something that's not him. I groaned. This is unhealthy. You already live here in Sadville. Might as well take a tour. That's how I ended up at a coffee shop with Mark. So, he said, smiling awkwardly, you do content stuff? Yeah. Cool. Like TikToks? Not really. Oh. He stirred his latte like it held the answers to life. I smiled politely. And you're in finance? Yeah, nothing exciting. He laughed at his own words. I nodded. We sat in silence. He looked around. Do you ever, wish you could turn your brain off? Constantly. Same. He wasn't bad, just not Ethan, not close. Back home, I found his toothbrush still in the drawer. I held it in my hand like it might explain something. His hoodie was still in the car, the gray one, the one he always wore when we drove out to the lake. I pulled it out, hugged it close, and cried for the first time in a week. He moved out? I repeated, stunned. The neighbor nodded, tugging her dog's leash. Yeah, next morning. Big moving truck and everything. Where'd he go? Didn't say, just packed and left, like a ghost. I stood there numb. Thanks. She tilted her head. You okay? I didn't answer. That night, Sammy held my phone above her head. Repeat after me, she said. I will not stalk my ex's LinkedIn like a psycho. I reached for the phone. Give it. Not until you say it. Sammy? Say it? I will not stalk. God, fine. I will not stalk his LinkedIn like a psycho. She tossed the phone back. Progress. I fell into the couch. You think he ever loved me? She looked at me. I think he didn't know how. I swallowed. Maybe I asked too much. No, she said firmly. You asked for the bare minimum. Communication, effort, consistency. I told him I didn't need him. He should have known that wasn't true. But maybe he believed me. Then he didn't know you at all. Mark texted the next morning. Mark, hey, had fun yesterday. Want to hang out again? I stared at it. Typed, sure. Deleted it. Typed, I'm not really in a good place right now, sorry. Sent. It wasn't fair to pretend. I pulled out the book Ethan had given me last spring, The Stranger. I opened it, needing something, anything, of him. A paper slipped out. Folded. Torn at the edges, my name written on the front. My heart stopped. I unfolded it with shaking hands, but I didn't read it, not yet. Instead, I held it in my lap and cried, because even silence has a sound, and I'd been drowning in it for weeks. The paper shook in my hands. My name was in his handwriting, curved, careful, almost too neat. I didn't breathe until the first line was read. I don't think I'm what you need. And I'm starting to think you knew that before I did. I pressed my back against the wall. The letter crackled as I unfolded it completely. I've tried. God, I've tried so hard to be enough. But I always felt like I was running behind you, not beside you. You love out loud. I barely know how to speak. You wanted fire. I only had coals. I blinked the tears away. You never asked me to change. But I changed anyway, quietly. I gave what I could. And when you said, I don't even need you, it felt like the truth finally showed up and sat between us. I dropped the paper to my lap. I wanted to scream. I wanted to call him and yell, You never told me this. You never gave me a chance. But he did. In this letter that I wasn't supposed to read. Sammy sat cross-legged on my floor, watching me like I might break. He wrote that before the dinner? I nodded. It was in a book, tucked between pages I never reached. She leaned back. He wasn't trying to punish you. No, I whispered. He was trying to disappear quietly. Damn. I made him feel small. You didn't mean to. I did it anyway. She hesitated. What are you going to do? I looked at the letter again. I need to see his mom. Sammy blinked. Why? Because maybe she has answers. Or maybe she has more silence. Either way, I said, I need to hear it. The drive to his hometown felt longer than I remembered. The road was the same. Flat fields, broken fences, skies too big for their own good. The last time we came out here, he was laughing. You drive like a grandma, he teased. Grandma gets us there in one piece. He smiled and reached over to mess with the radio. Lake? Obviously. That lake. Our lake. I parked outside the Lewis house. My hands were shaking again. My whole body buzzed with nerves. Mrs. Lewis opened the door before I could even knock. She looked tired, less polished than usual, like grief had finally touched her face. I opened my mouth, but she beat me to it. "You found the letter." I blinked. "You knew?" She stepped aside. "Come in." We sat in the living room, the same stiff couch, same porcelain figurines. Nothing had changed, but everything had. "He gave you that book for a reason," she said, pouring tea. "I didn't read it until now." She nodded. "He was gone the morning after dinner, took everything, left that photo on the table." She reached into a drawer and handed it to me. It was us. Him holding me from behind, my hair windblown, both of us mid-laugh. "He loved you," she said quietly. "But Ethan, he never knew how to stay when he felt like he was failing." I stared at the photo. "Why didn't he say goodbye?" She looked at me then, really looked. "Because goodbye felt too final and too cruel. I would have begged him to stay. And he didn't want that." I pressed my lips together. "He thought I didn't need him." Mrs. Lewis didn't answer. She didn't have to. The lake was still. The water reflected the sky like glass. I sat on the hood of my car, photo in one hand, the letter in the other. Flashbacks hit like waves. The time he kissed my forehead and said, "You make the world feel quieter." The time we fought over nothing and he whispered, "Please don't walk away." The way he used to squeeze my hand twice when he was nervous, his silent, "I love you." And the last moment, that dinner table, my voice sharp, my pride louder than my heart. "I don't even need you." His face didn't change. He didn't yell. He didn't flinch. He just nodded, got up, walked out, and never came back. I stared at the sky and hit record on my phone. "I did need you," I said, voice cracking. "God, Ethan, I needed you so much, but I needed you to fight for me, to say something, to not let me be the only one screaming. I needed to know I wasn't loving a ghost." Silence. My own breath sounded foreign. "I hated you for disappearing. I hated you for being quiet. But I get it now. You weren't trying to hurt me. You were trying to protect what little you had left of yourself." I paused. "I needed you, but I needed me more." I stopped the recording and deleted it. Later that evening, Sammy called. "Did you see her?" "Yeah." "You okay?" "No." She was quiet for a second. "Are you better?" "Yes." "Do you want me to come over?" "No," I said, looking out over the water. "I'm not alone." The sun started to set. The lake turned gold. I placed the letter beside me, let the wind pick at its corners. I didn't need to take it home. He'd already said goodbye. Now it was my turn. I closed my eyes and whispered, I forgive you." And maybe somewhere he heard it. Maybe he forgave me too. I stayed until the stars came out. Cried a little, smiled a little. Maybe he forgave me too. I stayed until the stars came out. Cried a little, smiled a little.